know the Petronas Twin Towers? Obviously, Petronas Twin Towers are as iconic to Malaysia as Eiffel Tower to Paris. On year 1992, Petronas Twin Towers has been built on leftover land that was previously occupied by Selangor Turf Club, and it repurposed to ease increasingly heavy traffic in Malaysia's capital Kuala Lumpur. The Petronas Twin Towers were a mega project that commissioned by 4th Prime Minister of Malaysia, which is Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. This symbolized Malaysia's importance as a global power in the 21st century. The Twin Towers over Kuala Lumpur at impressive 451.9 meters, which is 1,482.6 feet tall. What is special about these Twin Towers? Unlike from most skyscrapers, the towers is more concrete and steel, as concrete is vastly cheaper and more familiar to the contractors. The added weight of concrete helped ground the tower foundation, resulting the effective sway reduction, which can be a problem over time for many tall buildings. Steel was used for mostly decorative purposes, aiding in the striking reflective visuals all around the towers.
As we know, excavation began in March 1993 after developers relocated the entire site 60 meters southeast of where it was originally supposed to be. The originally selected location was moved 60 meters due to the configuration of the bedrock exposed during the excavations. So, one of the site of the Kuala Lumpur racetrack, the Twin Towers was constructed. Test boreholes found that the original construction site effectively sat on the edge of a cliff. One of the site, while the other half was soft rock, was decayed limestone. The entire site was moved 61 meters to allow the buildings to sit entirely on the soft rock. The buildings were constructed on the deepest foundation of the world due the depth of the bedrock. So the foundations were completed within 12 months by batching solidage and required massive amounts of concrete. So we can see that to make a building like Twin Towers is not easy. Then because they have their step to do it to make Malaysia proud and amazed with the buildings, which is Petronas Twin Towers.
The first one is important of the iconic building to Malaysia is the symbol of Malaysia modern. Okay, the Petronas Twin Tower is the tallest building around the world, and the characteristic of this building also make the symbol of Malaysia modern. The erection of this iconic building seems to inform around the world about the existence of this most Asian country. This made Malaysia more famous at the eyes of the world. And the second of the importance of this iconic building to Malaysia is it shows the ability and the progress of Malaysia. For example, the KLCC building explain the landmark and the outside of the community will know Malaysia, and also when they see Malaysia. Petronas semi-detached building also has a strong foundation and use strong material. This shows Malaysia is able to build tall, bigger, and more comparable to another developed country. We also see that the building will be high legacy to the country and future generation.
Question number 2. First of all, the Big Y construction company decided to use concrete for superstructure is because of lower cost. For our information, concrete is locally available in our country, which is we do not need to import the material from other countries, and we know the cost of importing steel is higher. So in this situation, Malaysian government can save budget by choosing the concrete for the building. Secondly, by using concrete as material, it will reduce tremors. This is because Petronas Twin Tower supported by a concrete core with 23 multiple 23 meters, and it is an exterior pole of super bare. The last reason why concrete choose as material is because in Malaysia we have many experienced workers in concrete system. So it will our advantages and our best choice by using concrete. As a conclusion, the three reasons stated is my important point why Malaysian government uses concrete for superstructure.
The construction of these two tours was carried out by two different contractors, Hazama Corporation for the Tour 1 and Samsung Engineering and Construction for the Tours 2, and also the break between the two tours. These two companies are from two different countries such as Japan and South Korea. First of all, in my opinion, there are many advantages of using two different contractors for each tours. Thousands of Malaysian workers and foreign workers are currently constructing this iconic building. Two different companies are given these two tours to establish competition between them. So, the race to appears in the eyes of the world to be the best. In addition, their friendly competition results in both remarkable speed and valuable cooperation as each team share with the other information gained during the building process. Secondly, this strategy divides the responsibilities, making the construction of each tour more feasible. The division of the contract also keeps either team from setting the schedule for the project and brought together more groups with various skills, increasing the quantity of technical knowledge being introduced to Malaysia through the project. Lastly, the construction of tours was fast-paced because it was a decision to have two contractors, one for each tour, that create a competitive environment and work commons at a faster pace.
For my part, I will present about the PERT diagram and completion time. So here, I will provide the table that gives the information to draw PERT diagram. Before that, we must identify the predecessor activities that doesn't have any activities before it. So here it showed that activity A and activity B doesn't have activity before them. So we start with note 1. From note 1, we draw for activity A with duration 9 months and we draw for activity B with duration 8 months. But we cannot close the arrow yet because we do not know the next activity is after activity A or activity B. Here it shows that activity C is after activity A so that we can close the activity A with note 2 and draw line for activity C with duration 8 months. Next, we draw line for activity D with duration 4 months. After activity B, that we close with note 3. After that, we draw line for activity E with duration 10 months that come from activity A. So, we can close the activity D and activity E and write with note 4. And we draw the line for activity F with duration 9 months. It is because the activity F come from activity E and activity D. Next, activity G come from activity C, D, and E with duration 7 months. So, from activity C, D, E, we can draw the line, but we use dummy line and close the arrow of activity C and dummy line and write note 5. Lastly, we can close the activity F and G with note 6. So, the final PERT diagram is like this. Okay, the next question is determine the completion time of this project. Before we answer this question, we must draw the PERT diagram. After we finish draw the PERT diagram, we should calculate the earliest event time EET and latest event time LET. To calculate this, we can use the formula for EET. It start from the left to the right. For example, 0 plus 9 equal to 9. But for LET, it start from right to the left. For example, 9 minus 9 equal to 0. So here, after we finish calculate the EET and LET, if we have more than one choice, for EET, we must choose the greatest value. But for LET, we must choose the lowest value. After make all the calculation, we can get the answer for the completion time for this project, which is 28 months. Why we get 28 months? It is because completion times is the time that the project should be finished. So here you can see on the step 2, on the last note, which is note 6, that state 28 months. So here, completion time is the last project, which is 28 months. That's all. Thank you.